cast scenario in which Turkey becomes a superpower, and the first thing they do is annex Syria. Why annex Syria? Because, well, they don't like Syria. B, they had it once in the Ottoman Empire. And they don't like the Kurdish rebels. You know, that might not be a thing soon. As they quickly invade. Well, they move to Darmkes. This leads to the surrender, which leads to an annexation. Well, now they go against Lebanon, quickly taking it over, and due to that, they decide to annex it as an annexation of, well, Lebanon happened. And now they go to invade the Caucasus. This includes Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. 3 nations. 1 nation, 2 of the nations they're not enemies with. 1 of them they're enemies with. And just don't ask them what they did in World War I. We don't ask Turkey what they did. We know they did it, so we don't need to ask them. Because they'll deny it. Because they were evil during World War I. Secretly. And well, they quickly take over more of the nations. And well, yeah, they use this, take Tbilisi. And at this point, all that's left is South Ossetia. Yeah, they decide to rebel again. Oh wait, they're gone. And they take over Artsakh. Yay, no more Nagorno-Karabakh! I solved all the conflicts of the world. I got the solution. We'll get rid of Azerbaijan and Armenia too. They're evil too. They all want war. We don't. It's probably impossible to stop. They just pretend to stop and then they fight again. Yeah, you need to actually stop it, but it's not as easy as it sounds. And well, the invasion of Iraq happens. And they claim as WMDs. Oh wait, that was America. Turkey claims, we just want the land. Oh, that's a better claim though. At least it's legitimate. Could be worse. You could be making up one. Like someone. They're a big nation. They have a crazy person that seems to be a pacifist. Or is he? Who knows? Maybe a great guy, maybe not. Who knows? He's actually evil. 90% of the time. Maybe even 99% of the time. And if you disagree, well, you disagree. We don't like orange people. Never trust somebody that looks orange. And well, Baghdad falls. And well, they continue down to the coast. And they say, well, we once had it, so we can keep it. Imagine if Britain heard. Imagine if that was true and Britain heard that. Just imagine. Britain became irredentist and just started doing that. With Iran very angry, demanding reparations. This enrages Turkey. And Turkey's response to this enragement is a declaration of war. The Turkish-Iranian war has broke out. Was anyone expecting it? Yes, definitely. Probably everyone. And while they quickly invade from the north, which goes well, this northern offensive. Not really much to it. This offensive here to take over resources. Iran manages to hold it back, because it's not good to lose. And then they make an offensive here to get to the coast. Which, this front moves a bit. And then they manage to move up north over here. As they need to get over the Zagros Mountains, which would take a while. But luckily, mountains, they don't exist. Yeah, they don't exist anymore. No, I'm kidding. Or am I? No, I'm kidding. Not in the mood to start a conspiracy theory. Although, some of them are actually just... I'm sure they just tell someone to speak who's not okay, and then they give it to someone who is to make it seem great. Therefore, let's continue invading Iran, a totalitarian dictatorship. Nobody likes totalitarianism. Totalitarianism is evil. Source of why it's evil, 1984. That seems legitimate. And well, but would people notice if they were living in an extreme dictatorship for like 7 generations? Would people at that point? Maybe not. But let's continue in Iran. Main enemies. An orange guy who's in charge of the most powerful nation. And yeah. And their allies. Likely to do. Seize stuff that they shouldn't. And what are they losing? Well, their resources. Favorite thing to do. Create more conflict in the Middle East. But they also have a friend for creating conflict, Saudi Arabia. They both just create conflict. Oh, great. Now we need to get rid of them on the peaceful map. And well, yeah. Afghanistan's also evil. Well, not evil, but evil. It's ruled by evil. There's a difference. And well, Tehran has just fallen. And well, let's see the peace. They annex the oil-rich areas and some areas in between. As you can see, they've greatly expanded. And well, now they decide to invade the Balkans? Yeah, they invade the Balkans. And you might say, oh, all the Balkans? No, not all the Balkans, but most of it. Well, now let's start it. They go against Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, Macedonia, and Montenegro. Well, this is the Balkan Wars has broken out. The Third Balkan War. And it's Turkey versus everyone. Definitely Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey. Definitely Serbia, Albania getting along. Definitely. As Greek thrice mostly falls and Bulgaria loses its coast at this point. With Turkey landing in southern Greece. As they move towards Athens and the manage take it, and then they move up here. And they move into Albania. And well, the front slows down significantly. And well, this doesn't go as fast. And they manage to take back the coast in Bulgaria. But at this point, one of the cities in Bulgaria falls, followed by Sofia, the capital. They still have the coast there, but they have no way of accessing it. With this falling, with them launching an offensive over here, that's critical to Serbia. By doing this, they risked Albania and northern Macedonia. And Montenegro falls. And Serbia and Bulgaria falls. And they then decide to annex Bosnia. So let's see the Saudi Arabia. And since they have the smallest front they'll have, it makes it the best time for them. I don't know. But they invade Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia took their land from when they had the Ottoman Empire. And they cross the border fully. With Saudi Arabia shocked by how well it goes. With them pushing towards Riyadh. And they finally encircle it. And they manage to get to the eastern coast. Not eastern, western coast. And they get to the eastern coast now. And while this happens, they get pushed back here. And then they get pushed down. This area falls. And they reach Jeddah, taking the city. And while they move in over here, to connect there, leading to the surrender of Saudi Arabia. So let's see the peace treaty. Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Egypt, and Kuwait. Israel, Palestine, whatever it is. Israel. No, not that. With them quickly taking over Kuwait. And you might be asking, why did they wait till now? Because I decided I want to make the borders look bad for a bit. So everyone would be commenting, oh, you ruined the borders. Yes, that's what they would be saying. With them moving all the way into the Sinai Peninsula and quickly breaking through, managing to take Cairo and move down the Nile. And they take all of the coast in the north, and then all the coast in the east, and they continue south. And then the Syria falls. So let's see the peace treaty. Jordan and Kuwait, and a big chunk of Egypt down along the Nile on this side, and up a bit and down the coast. And a new alliance forms, the Northern Pact. And well, this includes Russia, Ukraine, Moldova, and Romania. Well, the Northern Coalition decides to launch an attack on Turkey. I know this isn't all of Russia I've highlighted, but we really don't need to focus on the islands. Not going to be very important. With them launching an invasion. With them both attacking two different areas. With Ukraine, Romania, Moldova attacking the Balkans up into Bosnia. And also, I'll need to fix some of the border of Serbia because that's not the right border. Well, Russia starts an invasion in the Caucasus Mountains. And well, they move down to the south. And they cross here. But at this point, Turkey launches a counteroffensive here. And well, the counteroffensive is so successful, they even started having one over here. And well, they push Russia out. And with all the troops having to move to the Romania front, as so many troops cross over. With them moving along and taking over Romania rapidly, same with Moldova, they get slowed down a bit by Ukraine, because Ukraine's much stronger. But they still manage to continue forwards. With a small counterattack happening, but we won't consider this like their full-on counterattack, because it's not able to be. That's as far as they can get. It's not really a counterattack, it's more like a counter-push. And lands that they probably didn't fully solidify. And they take over Kiev. And well, they decide to land in Crimea. I got the solution to Crimea, Everett. Let's give it to Turkey. Oh, that's a good idea, I guess. And well, they start their invasion over here. And well, this quickly moves in, taking over the Chechnya area with Grozny. And they move in and manage to take Volgograd. And then they move up here and manage to take Rostov. Ukraine starts falling, with them being pushed up north from the south. And over here, they cross into Russia. Ukraine surrenders. And well, Russia, knowing it's too late to do anything, decides they'll also come to the peace treaty. So let's see the peace treaty. Big parts of Romania, I mean, all of Moldova, southern Ukraine, along with the Donbass region. I guess it's a very good region to hold on to. And they also grab Russia's Caucasian regions. And then their next move, they now annex Cyprus. And please subscribe. You know why? Because subscribing helps my channel. So please subscribe so we can get the 3,500 subscribers by August 31st. Yeah, that might not happen, but subscribe so you can get there. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out. Bye, guys.